Once upon a time, in a small neighborhood on the outskirts of a big city, there lived an 18-year-old young man named Marcus. Marcus had just graduated from high school, but unlike his classmates who were excited about their futures, Marcus had no plans, no ambitions, and no desire to do anything with his life. Every single day looked exactly the same for him. He would wake up at noon, spend hours scrolling through his phone, watch videos until his eyes hurt, play video games until dinner, then repeat the cycle until he fell asleep around 3 in the morning. Marcus's mother worked 2 jobs to keep their small apartment and put food on the table. Every morning, she would leave before sunrise to clean offices downtown, then head to her second job at a restaurant in the evening. She never complained, but Marcus could see the exhaustion in her eyes every night when she came home. Still, this didn't motivate him to change. "I'll figure it out eventually," he would tell himself, pushing any uncomfortable thoughts about his future to the back of his mind. Time felt infinite to Marcus. Tomorrow always seemed like it would be there, ready and waiting for him to finally start living. His mother tried everything. She begged him to get a job, to go to community college, to do something, anything with his days. But Marcus always had an excuse. "I'm tired. I'll start next week. I need more time to think about what I want to do." Meanwhile, weeks turned into months, and Marcus watched his former classmates posting about their new jobs, their college experiences, their internships and achievements, while he remained stuck in the same routine, living the same empty day over and over again. One scorching summer afternoon, Marcus's mother came home early from work, which was unusual. She looked more tired than he had ever seen her, and when she sat down at their small kitchen table, she started crying. Marcus felt his stomach drop. His mother never cried. She explained that she had been let go from her cleaning job because the company was downsizing. Now, with only one income, they could barely afford rent, let alone food and utilities. For the first time in his life, Marcus felt the crushing weight of real consequences. This wasn't a video game where you could reset. This was real life, and his laziness had left him completely unprepared to help the one person who had sacrificed everything for him. The next morning, something Marcus had never done before happened. He woke up early. At 7 in the morning, before his mother left for her remaining job, Marcus told her he was going to find work. She looked at him with a mixture of hope and skepticism, but she nodded. Marcus walked through his neighborhood for hours, going into every store, every restaurant, every business asking if they were hiring. By the end of the day, his feet hurt, his pride was bruised from countless rejections, and he had nothing to show for it. Nobody wanted to hire an 18-year-old with no work experience, no skills, and no references. Defeated and exhausted, Marcus sat on a bench in a small park near his apartment. He put his head in his hands, feeling more lost than ever. That's when he heard a deep, warm voice say, "You look like a young man carrying the weight of wasted time." Marcus looked up and saw an elderly man, probably in his 70s, sitting on the other end of the bench. He was dressed simply but neatly in a button-down shirt and slacks, and he was reading a thick book. His hair was white and closely cropped, and his eyes held a sharpness that seemed to see right through Marcus. "Excuse me?" Marcus said, not sure if the comment was meant for him. The old man smiled and closed his book. "My name is Mr. Williams. I've been watching you walk past this park every day for the past year, always in the afternoon, always looking at your phone, never seeming to have anywhere to be. Today, you walked past in the morning, and you looked like a man with purpose. So I'm guessing something has changed." Marcus was surprised that this stranger had noticed him at all. "I need to find a job," he admitted, "but nobody will hire me because I don't have any experience." Mr. Williams nodded slowly. "Let me tell you something about time, son. When I was your age, I thought I had all the time in the world, too. I wasted my entire 20s doing nothing, going nowhere, thinking that one day I would suddenly figure it all out and everything would fall into place. You know what happened? I woke up at 30 years old, still broke, still living with my mother, still with no skills and no prospects. That was the day I learned the hardest lesson of my life. Time doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just keeps moving. And every day you waste is a day you can never get back." Marcus listened, feeling like Mr. Williams was describing his worst fear about his own future. "So, what did you do?" he asked. Mr. Williams leaned back on the bench and looked up at the sky. I made a decision that day that changed my entire life. I decided that every single day from that point forward would count. I got up at 5 in the morning, every morning, no excuses. I took the first job I could find, which was washing dishes at a restaurant. It was hard, humiliating work for terrible pay, but I showed up on time every single day, and I worked harder than anyone else there. While I was washing dishes, I watched the cooks. I asked them questions. I learned everything I could. After 6 months, they let me start helping with food prep. After another year, I became a line cook. By the time I was 35, I was a head chef. By 40, I owned my own restaurant. I retired 5 years ago after selling my restaurant, and now I spend my time reading, volunteering, and occasionally talking to young men like you who are at the same crossroads I once faced. Marcus sat in stunned silence. This man, who looked so ordinary, had built an entire successful life from nothing. But how? Marcus asked. How did you go from washing dishes to owning a restaurant? Mr. Williams looked at him seriously. I stopped waiting for the perfect opportunity and started creating opportunities through hard work and consistency. Every single day I asked myself, did I make today count? Did I learn something new? Did I work harder than yesterday? Did I move one step closer to my goals? Mr. Williams reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, worn notebook. This is what changed everything for me, he said, showing Marcus the tattered pages filled with handwriting. Every single day for 20 years, I wrote down what I accomplished that day and what I would accomplish tomorrow. It kept me accountable. It kept me focused. It turned my vague desire to be successful into concrete daily actions. He looked at Marcus directly. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, every single morning. I want you to spend those early hours before the world wakes up doing something productive. Study a skill, look for work, exercise, read. I don't care what it is, but it has to be something that moves you forward. Marcus felt both intimidated and intrigued. Why 5:30? He asked. Mr. Williams smiled. Because winners wake up while losers sleep. Because the early morning is the only time of day that belongs entirely to you before the world and its distractions can claim your attention. Because if you can master your mornings, you can master your life. Every evening at 6 o'clock, I'm here on this bench. Come tell me what you did that day. If you miss even one day without a valid reason, the challenge is over. Marcus wanted to say no. He wanted to say that 5:30 was too early, that he needed his sleep, that this seemed too hard. But then he thought about his mother crying at the kitchen table. He thought about another year passing with nothing to show for it. He thought about becoming Mr. Williams at 30, but without the redemption story. Okay, Marcus heard himself say, I'll do it. The first morning was brutal. When Marcus's alarm went off at 5:15, every part of his body screamed at him to turn it off and go back to sleep. But he remembered Mr. Williams's words about winners and losers. He dragged himself out of bed, splashed cold water on his face, and sat at the kitchen table with a notebook he had bought the night before. He wrote, Day 1. What am I going to do today? For 2 hours, he researched online courses for skills that were in demand. He applied to 10 jobs. By the time his mother woke up at 7, she found Marcus dressed and focused at the table. The shock on her face was worth every minute of discomfort. That evening, Marcus went to the park bench and told Mr. Williams everything he had done. Mr. Williams listened carefully and asked, Did you make today count? Marcus thought about it and nodded. Then you've won today. Tomorrow, do it again. This became their routine. Every morning at 5:30, Marcus woke up. Some days he studied coding tutorials online. Some days he practiced interview skills. Some days he simply read books about successful people and took notes on their habits. Every evening he reported to Mr. Williams. Around day 12, something shifted. Marcus started feeling different. He had more energy. His mind felt clearer. He started actually looking forward to those early morning hours because they felt like his time, his secret weapon that nobody else knew about. On day 17, he got a call back for a job at a local grocery store. It wasn't glamorous, but it was something. He interviewed well because he had practiced. They hired him to start the following week. The real transformation came around day 25. Marcus was working at the grocery store during the day and spending his early mornings learning web design through free online courses. One morning at 3 a.m., something clicked. He finally understood how to code a functional website. He stayed up until 5, couldn't help himself, and built his first complete project. When he showed Mr. Williams that evening, the old man's face lit up with pride. You've discovered something powerful, Marcus. When you invest time in learning skills and building things, you're investing in yourself. And unlike money, the skills you develop can never be taken away from you. On day 30, Marcus met Mr. Williams at the bench with news. Not only had he completed the 30-day challenge, but he had been offered a promotion to department supervisor at the grocery store because of his work ethic. More importantly, he had completed 3 website projects and had already received his first freelance client, referred by someone at his church. It was only a $200 job, but it was the first money Marcus had ever earned from a skill he had taught himself. Mr. Williams stood up from the bench, something Marcus had never seen him do during their evening meetings, and he shook Marcus's hand firmly. You've learned what took me until 30 years old to understand. Every single day is either an investment or an expense. When you waste a day, you're spending time you can never earn back. When you use a day productively, you're investing in a future version of yourself who will thank you for the work you put in today. Marcus felt tears in his eyes, which surprised him. Mr. Williams, I don't know how to thank you. You changed my life. The old man smiled warmly. I didn't change anything, son. You did. All I did was show you what was already possible. The discipline, the early mornings, the hard work, that was all you. Don't ever forget that you have that strength inside you. 6 months later, Marcus had transformed his entire life. He was still working at the grocery store, but now as an assistant manager. His freelance web design work had grown to the point where he was making more money from it than his main job. He had moved out of his mother's apartment and gotten his own small place nearby, though he visited her every Sunday for dinner. Most importantly, his mother had been able to quit her restaurant job and just focus on one career because Marcus was contributing to household expenses. Marcus still woke up at 5:30 every morning, even on weekends. It had become more than a habit. It had become part of his identity. He was no longer the lazy boy who wasted every day. He was a young man building a future, one morning at a time. He still visited Mr. Williams at the park bench every week, though now they talked as friends rather than mentor and student. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Mr. Williams said, Marcus, I want you to remember something. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. Days when you want to sleep in, skip the work, take it easy. On those days, remember this. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is forever. You don't need to feel like doing the work. You just need to do it anyway. That's the real secret of success. Marcus nodded, pulling out his own worn notebook that was now filled with 6 months of daily entries. You know what's crazy? He said. A year ago, if someone had told me I'd be waking up at 5:30 every morning and actually enjoying my life, I would have thought they were insane. But now I realize that the old Marcus, the one who slept until noon and wasted every day, he was the insane one. He was watching his life pass by and doing nothing about it. Marcus's story didn't end with dramatic overnight success. He didn't become a millionaire or famous, but he became something more important. He became someone who understood the value of time and used it wisely. 2 years after meeting Mr. Williams, Marcus had built a successful web design business, hired 2 employees, and was able to help his mother buy her first house. 5 years later, he had created an online course teaching other young people from difficult backgrounds how to learn web design and start their own businesses. The most important change wasn't in his bank account or his job title. It was in how he saw himself and how he approached each day. Marcus had learned that time is the ultimate equalizer. Rich or poor, everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck isn't talent, luck, or opportunity. It's what they choose to do with those hours. If you see yourself in Marcus's old story, if you're the person who keeps saying tomorrow and next week, if you're watching your life pass by while you wait for the perfect moment to start, know this: the perfect moment will never come. The only moment you have is right now. Today, this hour, this minute. Give this video a like if Marcus's transformation inspired you, and share it with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to stop wasting time and start building the life they want. In the comments, tell me, what's one thing you're going to commit to doing every single day for the next 30 days? What skill will you learn? What habit will you build? And 30 days from now, come back and tell us how it went. Your story might be exactly what inspires the next Marcus to change his life. Remember, the present is the only moment when you really have power over your mind. Use it wisely. If you liked the video and think it could help another person, please like and share with your loved ones. Don't forget to follow the channel to continue with us. See you on the next story. Until then, stay safe, stay grateful, and thank you for being you.